Hi, I'm Dr. Elisa James, and this is Dr. Dwayne Kyoda, and we're physical therapists at Valley Rehab Physical Therapy. In our last video, we started to talk a little bit about anterior knee pain, and today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into patellofemoral pain syndrome. So patellofemoral pain is a common overuse injury. We oftentimes see it in runners or in athletes whose sport involves a lot of running. It's oftentimes associated with an increase in load. So thinking like, let's say you increase your mileage too quickly. That can oftentimes bring on that patellofemoral pain. The pain's gonna be through the front of the knee, so it can either be on the outside of the patella or your kneecap. That's where we oftentimes see it, but it can also be on the inside of the knee, above or below the kneecap. Sometimes people will even say that they kind of feel that pain underneath the knee. Things that will aggravate the pain are activities that involve bending the knee in the position of weight bearing. So once again, running, squats, stairs can all be irritating activities. And then we'll tend to hear people say that going downhill or downstairs will increase that pain even more. Before we talk about how patellofemoral pain occurs, we're going to review a little bit of anatomy. So the patella or kneecap works to translate forces around the knee. It sits in the trochlear groove of your femur and is lined with hyaline cartilage so that it can glide smoothly through that groove. Just above the kneecap, you have the quadriceps tendon, where the four quadricep muscles come in to attach onto that patella. And then just below the patella, you have the patellar tendon that attaches down onto the tibial tuberosity. So patellofemoral pain occurs when the patella repeatedly does not track appropriately in that trochlear groove of the femur, then causing irritation between the patella and the femur. If there's also a breakdown of cartilage associated with that irritation, you may hear it called chondromalacia. So there are various causes of why the patella might not be tracking appropriately in the femur, one of which is an increase in muscle tension. So you could have an increase in muscle tension of the quads, the calves, or the hamstrings, which all in their own way will cause an imbalance of forces acting on the knee. Another potential cause is muscle weakness. So of your quadricep muscles, you have one called your vastus medialis, which is kind of your inner quad here. And the lower portion that Dwayne is pointing to right now is called your VMO. If that portion of your quad is weak, it's going to cause the other portions of your quad to overpower it and kind of pull that kneecap to the outside, then putting more force on the outside of that patellofemoral joint. Another area of weakness that can affect the knee joint is actually up in the hip. So if Dwayne has a hard time controlling his hip position, and his hip enters into a position of kind of internal rotation and adduction, you can see how his knee then falls inward. That's gonna put increased pressure through the outside of that patellofemoral joint as well. And then looking below the knee at potential sources of kind of that onset of knee pain, we're gonna look down at the ankle. So if in a weight-bearing position, your ankle overpronates or kind of falls inward, you can see how once again that's going to cause the knee to drop inward, putting that increased pressure on the outside of that patellofemoral joint. Now we're going to give you a few exercises to try if you feel you may be experiencing patellofemoral pain syndrome. The first we're going to go over is a glute bridge. So Dwayne's gonna be our model here. You're gonna start laying down on your back. Your feet are gonna be flat, about hip width apart. And we want your knees to be a little bit wider than your feet. Perfect. So now Dwayne is gonna push through his heels, squeeze his glutes as he lifts his hips up off the table. Perfect. And then you're slowly gonna lower back down. Things to watch for here. One, you wanna make sure that your knees are staying apart. Don't let your knees come together like that. Yep, so knees are staying apart. You also wanna make sure that you aren't overarching your back to drive the hips up and that you're actually squeezing the glutes to get that movement. So we'll watch Dwayne do it just a couple more times here. Perfect. So in this exercise, we're really working on strengthening our hip extensors. So another exercise you can try if you have patellofemoral pain is a split squat. So to get set up for this exercise, you're gonna put one foot in front of the other, nice wide stance. That back heel is gonna be slightly lifted up off the ground, and then you're going to bend your front knee, coming down into that split squat position. You wanna make sure that that front knee does not come over your toes. As you do this movement, you wanna keep the knee behind the toes. Another thing you wanna consider is how is the knee tracking? So from another angle here, there we go. As you come down, you wanna make sure that your ankle, your knee, and your hip are all staying in line and that that knee is not ducking inward like that. A good place to start with this exercise would be 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 15 with a nice break in between. And if you're looking to progress it, make it a little bit more challenging, you can place that back foot up on a step or up on a chair and then come down into that same position there. So this next exercise we're going to review is toe yoga, and it's really working on our foot posture. So this is a great one if you're experiencing that patellofemoral pain and are noticing that you are excessively pronating at your ankle or letting that ankle roll inwards. So this exercise can be performed in sitting or in standing. We're going to demonstrate it in sitting here today. So to get set up, you're gonna start in a sitting position. Your feet are gonna be flat on the ground, and you wanna make sure that there's equal pressure through 3 points of the bottom of your feet. You want equal pressure through the bottom of the heel, the ball of the big toe, and the ball of the little toe. Now, while maintaining those 3 points of pressure, you're then going to lift all of your toes up off of the ground and then lower them back down and up and down, all the while keeping those 3 points of pressure. Once you feel like you can do that pretty easily, a nice progression is going to be to keep the big toe on the ground and just lift the little ones, and then keep the little ones on the ground and just lift the big ones. We recommend doing this either for time, so 2 or 3 sets of a minute every day, or for repetitions. I like to do a few more of this one, so sets of about 20 would be good.
Thanks for watching this video about patellofemoral pain. Stay tuned for our next video about the IT band syndrome.
See you later.